Brothers and sisters, Happy New Year to all of you. I would like to speak today on a subject which has been troubling many people. It is about ethics and mindfulness. I would like to link it with the subject of karma. You know that karma has three parts. Sanchita, which is the ocean gathered by each of us. Then prarabdha, that part of it set aside for this life. And agami, there are various names for this, which goes into the future. So mindfulness is very much linked with the future of our lives. And I would like to speak a little bit about ethics in relation to this, which would mean that the creation of future karma depends on our ethics. First of all, ethics depends on your motive. What is your motive? If your motive is negative, you will get negative circumstances. If your motive is positive, you get positive results. But it is very important. So let us be mindful about whatever we do in this context. First of all, let us look at basics. What we eat. Now, there is always this question about vegetarianism, about veganism, about non-vegetarian food, and all that. Let me tell you, keep one thing in mind. Everybody has to eat. There is no question of surviving without eating, unless you reach a certain point where food becomes next to unnecessary. It is very important for us to understand that animals suffer a lot when they are killed. So therefore, it is very important for us to cause the minimum harm to living beings when we have food, when we prepare food. Now, when you take plants, for example, they too suffer. Now, the suffering of plants is a little less conscious, I presume, because they don't have a central nervous system like animals. And therefore, it's important for plants to be consumed better than animals to be consumed. For this reason, there is no other reason that I can keep in mind, although there are various factors in favor of veganism these days, particularly in relation to health and well-being. Now, so keep this in mind, that whatever you eat, how much of it harms other sentient beings, and minimize that harm. Don't starve, but minimize the harm. The second most important thing is what you wear. Now, for example, people like to wear silk. It's very interesting. Of course, silk is very beautiful, and so is leather. But see the harm that goes behind the making of silk. Thousands of silkworms are boiled. Is that a nice thing? Certainly not. And look at leather. It is perhaps the byproduct, if not the product, of cruelty, of killing. So, there are substitutes today for both silk and for leather and other things. So, why don't we mix fashion with ahimsa and say that I will not harm any living being in what I wear? Then also look at other forms of himsa or cruelty. How we treat our children, how we treat our subordinates, how we treat our students in different contexts for each different person. These things happen. How we treat the elders and the old, keep all this in mind and be humanitarian, be kind, and anticipate what would cause pain and try and see how much we can help people. And we must be mindful about everything, including insecticides and pesticides and all such things. When we are using such things, is it important for us to kill any living creature? Or would it be better for us to use repellents by which these pests, so-called, do not come and bother us? So therefore, it's very important for us to understand that we should not harm those poor little creatures. Similarly, when you are driving somewhere or riding a bicycle, if there's a row of ants, why would you go over that? If you can see it and be mindful about it, then you should get down, pick up your bicycle, put it on the other side, and then go, or wait for whatever insect or living being to pass. However small it is very important that you do not harm it. It's a law in life that you should not harm anything. Then look at the environment. If you can cause the minimum harm to the environment in the vehicles you use, in the need for those vehicles, in the pollution that we cause by various activities, then we should look at cutting down that. And today there's a lot of global warming. And how do we reduce that? How do we prevent natural calamities which in their own way affect various human beings? We should be extremely mindful of our manufacturing, of our life, of what kind of fuel we use, everything. It's very, very, very important. Today, electric fuel has become more common, and we should look at such opportunities. Now, I have spoken about various things where we can cut down harm to the environment, to animals and other sentient beings, including human beings. We should try and see how much of discomfort there is that we cause to other human beings, and then try to practice universal compassion. Very important. So if we kept all this in mind and are very mindful about it. So what is mindfulness? Mindfulness means being there, not somewhere else. If you think that you can be careless, that itself is a cause for creating bad karma. But if you're a mindful person, you will not be careless. You'll be very careful. You'll be very mindful. You would only do things which do not harm any sentient beings. Whether it was the great Lord Buddha or Jesus or any of our great spiritual leaders, right till now, they have all taught us that we should not harm any living being. That is most important. As somebody said, it's not up to us to please everyone, but it certainly is up to us not to harm every living being. So, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, thank you very much for listening to this video.